Hi, and welcome to the January 2016 term overview video. I'm John Montgomery. We'll be joined in just a bit by Mike Seymour from Sydney. Before we get to that, just want to let you guys know what this video is all about. It's a chance for us to showcase the new courses that we have on offer this term, for you to hear directly from the profs what they have planned for their 10 courses or 10 classes that make up a course. But just want to point out that in addition to these 11 new courses you'll be seeing directly in this video, we have a wide variety of other courses on offer. They're repeats, courses that we've run from our past, member favorites, and we have over 100 on offer. So be sure to check those out on the Our Courses page. Now, we got a lot of cool stuff to talk about, including new web design changes, new features for the forums, and things like that. But now let's go ahead and dive into taking a look at our courses and head down to Sydney and Mike.
Thanks, John. Well, at fxphd, we're kind of known for doing high-end training, really professional stuff that'll help take your career to the next level. So let's start with our most senior course, which is a VFX 305 course. Ludo is doing it, and it's pulling together a bunch of stuff into one professional, cohesive shot that's actually pulling up different things. Now, you don't have to do all of the courses, but obviously if you want to go for the high end, and this is what I think, you get the most professional, most comprehensive training anywhere on the net here at fxphd, this course is for you. Ludo is senior environment artist at Double Negative, and he's done on things from Bourne Identity to James Bond to Thor 2. He's done just a ton of really great films. So he's well known to many of you, but he's an exceptionally good artist, and pulling all this stuff together is, I think, one of the real strengths that you can get from doing courses here at fxphd.
For this new VFX term, we're going to start with this plate of a truck in the middle of a desert. And that's a very nice camera move, a lot of movement, traveling, so we can do a lot of things. And the idea with this is to start with a match move camera and then start to build set extension and a lot of effects. So I've done a quick concept to show you the idea. Basically, we would like to represent a few rocks here. So it's going to be 3D rocks, so modeling, texturing, look deving, all this kind of thing. Few elements buried in the ground like this, metallic stuff, maybe old cars, we don't know yet. There's going to be a set extension for the background. So as a DMP, we are going to add like a very distant city, maybe destroyed, maybe modern or futuristic, we don't know yet. And here it's going to be the big FX part. We're going to create like a sandstorm. So that's the idea, like replicating a little bit what we have in Mad Max again, but with this time not only the environments, but mixing with the old techniques. So FX modeling, 3D, DMP here, and of course compositing at the end. So what we're going to have to do is probably to split this term in two terms. So first one, we're going to start with everything here and maybe the beginning of the sandstorm, and then second term we're going to finish with the DMP. We're going to mix everything together and create the full shot. So again, that's the plate. So we're going to have a lot of camera move to do, maybe a bit of DMP on the top at the end as well, and a lot of different techniques for this VFX term. So I hope you enjoy it, and feel free to join. For this new term, I started with this sort of image, very nice colors, very nice atmosphere. And then I said, what could I do with mixing these first images with this sort of gut rays and abandoned place? Then I jump into something like this, which was crazy in terms of perspectives and openings. And I said, yeah, that's quite interesting. And actually, I think we could do something quite nice. And then I said, yeah, of course, we could do these sort of shots. You know, the one that we have in Star Wars, the last episode, where we have this character, you know, going inside an abandoned ship like this and hanging here and trying to discover the whole place. So that would be something quite interesting to develop, because that'd be quite big. We could use a lot of texturing, a lot of modeling to model the place, and then creating a bit of lighting. So modeling, texturing, lighting, DMP on everything, and then a small camera move to reveal a bit more of the place. So that's what we're going to do in the next DMP term. Recreate one very nice shot from the last Star Wars episode, and really trying to focus on how to keep this sort of very nice mood and lighting on all these sort of beams, and these sort of very nice gut rays and natural light coming in through these sort of holes, and this incredibly sense of perspective and depth. So that's what we're going to try to do here. So feel free to join the term, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot of fun in this.
Hello, this is Daniel Smith, and I am thrilled to be back at fxphd doing Nuke 234, Immersive VR Compositing. And this course is going to focus on creating a single shot for something called location-based entertainment, which usually exists at a fixed location, that we can create immersive experiences akin to a ride film or a special event or a special presentation, usually coupling a motion base with a static screen and three-dimensional sets. The course is going to be very Nuke-centric. We're going to be spending a lot of time in Nuke. We're going to be using Nuke to prototype our ride. We're going to be using Nuke to create the final composite for the imagery that will be projected on the screen, as well as using Nuke to simulate a virtual reality recreation of the final ride environment. We're going to be making a shot of this troll that is going to be in a forest, and it's going to be reaching out at the audience as we pass by him. And it's going to come up with a lot of very interesting problems that we're going to have to solve through creative compositing and some interesting solutions that will augment the immersive VR component of this course. We're going to be using VR tools such as the Oculus or Gear VR or the Google Cardboard. And we're going to be using these to see our end results. But in order to do that, we're going to be creating a 360-degree stereoscopic rendering in lat-long space, which will create an equatorial panoramic view that can be uploaded to YouTube, which then can be downloaded on the Oculus, Gear VR, and Google Cardboard. What's really unusual about this particular kind of effect is that it is always contingent on a moving point of view. So we're creating a visual effect shot from a particular point of view that is constantly changing. And the real key to this course is how we're going to fold this into the emerging technologies of virtual reality. We're also going to be, we're going to go into the concepts in history. We're going to look at practical ways that we can work out these things called POV pre-distortions, where we're going to distort our imagery, not only in a practical sense, but also a digital way that will help you understand the entire concept behind this course. Then we're going to design our shot, and we're going to then composite the shot to its fullest degree, and then we're going to use Nuke to set up again how we're going to be ultimately viewing this down the road. And then we're going to be using our virtual reality goggles to see our final shot and experience it in VR. I'm so excited to bring you Nuke 234, Immersive VR Compositing. So I'll see you in class.
So those are new courses and more to come, but I just want to flag, of course, we highlight in this O-Week video the new courses that are introduced, in addition to the hundreds of other courses available here at fxphd, and the full listing is on the site. And along, of course, with any new subscription to fxphd, you get Background Fundamentals, which is our behind-the-scenes kind of background info, the kind of primer that you need, because things are going to hit your desk, opportunities are going to come along, and you're going to need to have that background information to be able to say, hey, I've got something that I could apply there. So we hit the SciTech winners, we hit the latest SIGGRAPH papers, we speak to people with new bits of tech, new bits of camera gear, new ideas. Obviously not an entire course that builds week by week, but individual kind of magazine-style pieces. And I'm very proud of that course. It's proven to be one of the most popular and enduring parts of fxphd. Well, back to you, John.
As I mentioned at the outset of the video, we actually have new forums at fxphd that involve a substantial amount of work under the hood in order to make that happen. We had to rip out the guts of what we used in the past, our old vBolton forums, and replace them with these new ones. And what that will do is actually give us new functionality. First and foremost, what you'll notice is they're now mobile friendly. So if you're viewing it on your iPhone, your iPad, or Android device, you'll see that they're actually much more friendly for reading posts as well as responding to them. In addition to that, over the course of the term, we're going to be rolling out new features. Things like the ability to respond to forum posts via email, which is really a big feature request that we've had in the past. We'll also have the ability to rate certain posts that people can search for the most useful posts that they find. And you'll also be able to actually earn points that you can then exchange for credits in the store based upon how often you contribute and how well your posts receive in the forums. Again, we'll be rolling out those over the duration of the term, so we'll be giving you notifications of that if you're a member throughout the term. All right, let's go ahead and dive back into our new courses. And in this section, we're going to focus on desktop apps. First off, we have a brand new After Effects course based on creating expressions in After Effects, which are obviously really an indispensable tool that you need to know when using the app. In addition to that, Arnold for Cinema 4D was released last year, so we've got a new course focusing on that. And finally, our first ever programming course. So if you want to create a plugin for Premiere or After Effects, this course is for you. Well, let's go ahead and hear directly from the guys what they have planned for their various courses.
Hello everyone, I'm Matthias Möhl from marmorworld.com and I'm looking forward to see you this term in my beginner course for After Effects scripting. Scripting is like programming your own little robot which performs complicated or tedious tasks in After Effects for you fully automatically. With writing a few lines of code, you can save you hours and hours of time, in particular if your work involves many repetitive tasks. The main example that we will follow mostly on in this course is a script to adjust the content of a lower third. In a convenient user interface, you just enter the desired text and some other parameters, like the desired color and logo icon, and with a single click, the script updates the After Effects project accordingly. But the goal of this course is of course not that you only replicate this one example script. My goal is that you learn everything you need to write your own scripts. Scripting is a huge topic and we cannot cover all of it. Therefore, I will show you how to use the scripting reference and other materials efficiently, such that after finishing the course, you will be able to continue developing your scripting skills on your own. I have a PhD in computer science, so when I talk about programming, I really know what I'm talking about. But I'm also aware that as an After Effects artist, you are most likely more of an artistic and creative person than a programming geek. So don't be afraid. You don't need to know anything about programming at all to follow this course. I will make your first steps in the scripting world as easy as possible.
Hi everybody, my name is Da Costa and I'd like to welcome you to our new C4D 221 course called Using Arnold in Cinema 4D. Earlier in 2015, the Arnold render engine became available for Cinema 4D. So in this term, we will get you up and running with Arnold. In 10 weeks, this course will demonstrate all the fundamentals about working with this render engine. At the end of this semester, you should feel comfortable taking on any project with Cinema 4D and the Arnold render engine. In our first class, we will introduce you to Arnold. Right after that, we will quickly get you comfortable using Arnold by completing a few short projects from beginning to end. In our second class, we will look at everything related to lighting in Arnold. In class number 3, we will discuss everything there is to know about render settings. In the first half of our fourth class, we will explore the important Arnold standard shader. In the second half of this lesson, we will take a look at some other shaders that comes shipped with Arnold. In week number 5, we will step it up a notch and take a look at more complex shading techniques. We will also take the opportunity to look at free third-party Arnold shader libraries and implement them into our own shader networks. We will dedicate week number 6 completely into lowering render times by looking at all kinds of workflow techniques and tips on how to actually achieve this all-important goal. In our 7th week, we will focus on compositing options and multipass workflows with Arnold. In our 8th week, we will take a look at different ways in which Arnold and cinema are integrated. We will look at the integration between popular Cinema 4D aspects such as splines, particles, and the MoGraph module. In our 9th class, we will shade, light, and render an interior scene from beginning to end. And in our final class, we will shade, light, and render an exterior scene from beginning to end. So I'm very excited about this class, and I hope to see you soon in the fxphd forums.
Hi everyone, I'm happy to be back, this time teaching such a hardcore subject as C++ plugin development. We'll begin by designing and coding a seemingly simple vignette for Adobe Premiere and After Effects. Learn just enough classical C to be able to understand the provided samples and see how the recent changes to C++ have made it more accessible to ordinary or even casual developers. Afterwards, we'll look at cross-platform development and explore the arcane subjects of floating point and GPU processing, and also learn the difference between ARGB and BGRA color spaces. At the end of this course, you should be able to create your own custom plugins and know where to seek help if need be. Previous scripting or coding experience is helpful but not required. Everybody is welcome to join the ride.
We have a new 200 level DOP course this term, which is killer production values for interviews, promos, and production. Now, the idea here is we've done a lot of production courses, and I've been really enjoying doing these over the years, but I realize it's a while since we kind of drew a new line in the sand and said, what are the sort of killer app, what are the killer techniques, what are the sort of the state-of-the-art best ways to get great production value without spending a fortune. So it's not so much independent filmmaking as it is how can I use the latest tools, the latest cameras, lenses, lights, what are the sort of combination of things that you would put together if you wanted to do, say, some really great interviews, some behind the scenes footage, some material, maybe it's a video podcast or it's a professional video promo for your company, whatever it is, will get you from the DOPs that do this day in, day out, led by Ben Allen, just the best current state-of-the-art techniques. Let's have a look now as I spoke to Ben about this exciting new DOP course. Well, welcome back, my friend. Ben, how are you?
Good, good. And really excited about this course because I think the idea of focusing on production value has got so much scope because there are so many different things you can do to add production value in different ways, different techniques that you can use to really make something much more interesting than it otherwise might be.
And you've been doing a bit more of this work lately, haven't you?
I have actually, been doing a bit of this work for government and law firms, and which puts you in some really interesting, challenging situations sometimes. And there's some great techniques that you can kind of use to make those situations work and make them actually beneficial to the end product.
I mean, obviously, I've done an enormous amount of interviews for all over the world, and sometimes you are in those locations like you're at a trade show, sometimes you're in somebody's corporate office, sometimes you're in a studio. We won't be just doing stuff in a studio, we'll really go out in those real-world environments. But for me, just even when you talk about just an interview, which is just a small part of what we're going to be looking at in one sense, you know, you can have an interview where it's just that person being interviewed and you don't see the interviewer, but you can have two people on shot together like we are, two cameras separately shooting across shoulders. Like, there's a ton of stuff there. Someone looking straight at the camera, someone looking beside camera, making all of those work. And that's the kind of more stage stuff. There's actually some really cool stuff making things look unstaged and more natural that you've been doing.
Yeah, and that can be actually quite challenging, quite difficult to make something look like it's not set up and staged, but still watchable and not annoying. And so all of those techniques will affect what the audience takes away from it, and also how the project works in terms of what your options are with editing and things like that.
And also, of course, we should point out this isn't just about, say, cameras, right? This is everything.
And that's the exciting thing about talking about production value, is that it takes in cameras, lighting, sound, workflow. All of these issues come into play when you're talking about production value. So
it's kind of drawing a line in the sand and saying this is the state of the art, and these are some really cool new techniques, apps, tricks for getting great production value. I'm looking forward to it, Ben.
Yeah, it should be good.
Now, 902 is just out, and Moto is really growing in its capacity and in its popularity throughout the industry. And there's a lot of good stuff in that release in terms of cameras integrating with live action. But one of the areas that's really important is the stuff that's going on in texturing, and the new projection inks and the techniques for doing texturing. So we're very glad to have a new 200-level Moto course because, as I say, this is another one of those things that adds enormous production value and realism to many shots in 3D. Let's have a look at that now.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Moto 205 course this semester. Throughout the classes, we'll be covering the Moto shader tree and materials within Moto. We'll be using some pretty cool models to cover all the different aspects of materials and shading inside of Modo. We'll start by covering the Modo shader tree and all the various aspects and elements that create it to create our final image. We'll look at all of the different options that we have for our shading models, and we'll go in depth on each one of these settings and how these affect our different materials. We'll cover all of the most important materials, such as metal, and how we can give it the exact look that we want. We'll also cover the hair and fur shader and how we can use that to make hair and grass elements, such as you see here. We'll cover all of these shader elements using some pretty cool real-world model production-ready examples. We'll also look at organic materials such as this egg from Aliens, and we'll learn how to create our own texture maps for painting, and we'll also learn about the different textures that we can use inside of Modo to create some pretty cool effects that mimic organic material. We'll also cover plastics and glass and the different options we have for subsurface scattering and transparency that will create the look, illusions, and luster that we're after. These can be quite complex, so we'll take some time to cover all the different refraction, dispersion, subsurface scattering, and what each one of these settings means. We'll also take a look at the new Modo projection shader and projection texture items and how these can help us create really cool matte paintings inside of Modo. Using these methods, we can set up a camera and project our scene onto the geometry, and it's a really powerful way to recreate 3D models of our scene, and then we can do some further painting and cleanup of our geometry. And finally, we'll look at the render settings within our shader tree and the different settings that we have to eliminate some problems that we might run into through our renders, such as noise in the reflection, shadows, weird banding issues that we might get, and all of the other different settings that will allow us to eliminate and make better, cleaner renders as fast as possible. We're also going to look at Modo's nodal-based workflow and how this can help us create even more powerful and more complex shaders within our shader tree. We're going to cover a lot of things that are going to help us have a better understanding of Modo's shader tree and creating custom materials within inside of Modo. So I look forward to seeing you in the course, and we're going to have a lot of fun.
Our new course is designed to take you through all the key features of the latest version of the Foundry's Katana, version 1.1. As Katana's render agnostic, we've chosen to use RenderMan 20 as our key renderer for the course. During the 10 classes, we're going to be focused on two main projects. One will be all CG and the other live action. Our projects are going to focus on two key areas that Katana is most often used in: look development and lighting. During the first half of the course, we're going to cover a multitude of things, including an overview of Katana's history, preparation of 3D assets coming out of Maya, importing those assets, geometries, cameras into Katana itself, and then creating basic primitives as and when we need them. Then building collections using cell or collection expression language, using RenderMan object settings and RenderMan render settings, creating materials, and then assigning those materials to geometry. Then we'll be looking at the gaffer and how we can use it to create lights and use lights within Katana, setting up render passes, and then creating a look dev file. In the second half of the course, we're going to be focusing on things like building a look development template, setting up interactive render filters, looking at the 2D compositing side of the tools within Katana, working out key lighting stages for the project, in-depth lighting techniques, again, obviously using RenderMan, how we can do animation within Katana, editing look development files, setting up render passes, creating groups and live groups, building macros and super tools, working with attributes, understanding resolvers, and how instancing works within Katana. As Mike said at the beginning, Katana is being used by some of the top visual effects companies in the world: Industrial Light and Magic, MPC, Digital Domain, Sony, Pixar, and Tippett Studios, to name a few. So we've designed this course specifically for anybody interested in learning Katana for the first time, or an existing Katana artist that's looking to fill in the gaps and take their skills to the next level. It's obviously a 200 level course because it is going to be complicated. It's not a beginner's course, but it is aimed at people new to Katana. So I look forward to seeing you on the forums. There's obviously lots going on this term, including Charles's Katana course as well. So from now, let me pass you back to Mike and John.
Hi, and welcome to fxphd Katana 203. On this class, we will see how to do the lighting and the look dev in Katana and Rendement 20. So basically, we will start with these plates and we will do all the look dev for the trunk. At the end, we will see these plates with these Mad Max references from the previous classes in texturing for the trunk. And we will see, first of all, how to export everything in Katana from Maya. So basically, the first classes will focus on the layouts and the setup of the camera for the trunk and everything in Maya. And then we will export everything in Alembic from Maya to Katana. We will see how to create this setup with the light here, the different material assigned to the different objects, the different render setting for renderman, and how to render a batch render from Katana. Finally, we will see at the end how to adjust and everything in Nuke. I hope you enjoy. See you next time.
Well, that's it for the look at our new courses running this term at fxphd.com. But in addition to those I mentioned earlier, we have a wide variety of repeat courses, over 100 on offer, so check those out at fxphd.com/courses. And before we close out, just want to mention one more bonus extra in addition to background fundamentals and the discussion forums, and that's our VPN software. We have a wide variety of the full unrestricted versions of various software applications. And basically, you create a secure connection between your computer and our server, which allows you to run those versions. It's a great way to learn, follow along with the course material, and build shots for real. The only restriction is you actually can't make money utilizing our VPN software. But again, it's a great way to take your career to the next level. Well, that's it for this O-Week video. Really appreciate you taking the time to watch, and we hope to see you in the forums.